So we start off with the first verse. We have وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى. The word يَغْشَى, the only heavy letter within that word is the letter ghain. Now, there are two common mistakes that people can make. The first is either bouncing يَغْشَى, that's the first thing. The second is that the letter that precedes it, which is the ya, you make that heavy. So you say يَغْشَى. A lot of people, they do make this mistake. وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى. But it's not يَغْشَى. What is it? Ya, يَغْشَى. So when you're reciting it, you have to be very careful in reciting this word. So don't rush and say وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى. It's common, the reason why it's common is because ghain is a heavy letter. So sometimes people are trying to prepare for the heavy letter and they make the letter before also heavy. So that's wrong, okay? So يَغْشَى. That's the first verse. Moving on to the second verse, everything here is fine. However, when you begin the verse, make sure you're doing a ghunnah. But when you do the ghunnah, do not prolong the sound before it. So don't say وَالنَّهَارِ. That's wrong. You join it together. وَالنَّهَارِ, وَالنَّهَارِ, and not وَالنَّهَارِ. That's an unnecessary prolongation. Okay? The verse after, وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى. خَلَقَ. We have kha, heavy letter. Lam, light letter. Qaf, heavy letter. So you can see there's a transition happening between the letters. We don't say all three letters the same. So don't say khalaqa, that's wrong. Khalaqa. وَمَا خَلَقَ وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ. That's the first thing. Second thing is on the word وَالْأُنثَى. Lam is one of those letters that you can easily bounce off of. So we have to be very careful. Not wala untha. You stop on it. Wal. Okay? That's the first thing. Untha. Tha, is it a heavy or a light letter? Light letter. How are we going to do ikhfa into the light letter? We stretch our mouth out. Wal untha. We prepare for the letter tha. Wal untha. Okay? We only do that, why? Because then it's easy for us to pronounce the letter when we are reciting it. وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى. Now, think of it like this. If you were to all close your eyes, and if I was to say it like this, وَالْأُنثَى, you'd automatically know that there's a tha coming after it. So you have to recite the Qur'an in such a way that if a person who is not seeing you, who is blind, then he knows which letter you're pronouncing or which letter you're about to pronounce. Okay. Next verse. Inna sa'yakum la shatta. Inna, same thing as wan nahari. Do not prolong the sound before it. So don't say inna. What do you say? Join it together and then do the prolongation. Inna sa'yakum. Okay. La shatta, lam is separate from the word shatta. La shatta is not one word. Shatta is one word, la is a separate word. La shatta, so you will emphasize on the sheen and not the lam. La shatta. Okay. Moving on, فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى وَاتَّقَى. Okay. Two things here. أَعْطَى. Alif and then ayn. Sometimes we're rushing and we can just say together أَعْطَى. And sometimes we don't give the alif its due right. أَعْطَى. أَعْطَى. That's the first thing. وَاتَّقَى. Ta, is it heavy or light? Ta. Light letter. So we don't say وَاتَّقَى. What do we say? Aywa. وَاتَّقَى. وَاتَّقَى. So ta stays how it is. A qaf is the letter that is heavy. Next verse. وَصَدَّقَى. Sad, heavy. Dal, light. Qaf, heavy. If you see, I'm emphasizing on this a lot because many of the common mistakes fall back to these two things, heavy or light letters. وَصَدَّقَ, not وَصَدَّقَ. وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى, not بِالْحُسْنَى. Again, another common mistake. Bil. There's no such thing as a in the Arabic language. We're going to have a, i, u. So if you say I, bil, okay? وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى, not بِالْحُسْنَى. Okay? فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ. Here, the word here is a bit difficult. فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ. Ensuring that we're giving every letter its due right with the correct short vowel that is on it. فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ. Do it together. فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ. Like that, yeah? لِلْيُسْرَى. Again, we've got the letter lam here. We mentioned, if a lam has a sakin, don't bounce on it. Don't say لِلْيُسْرَى. Lil, stop on it. لِلْيُسْرَى. Moving on to the next verse, وَأَمَّا مَنْ بَخِلَ. Kha, is it a heavy letter or light letter? Heavy letter. It has a kasra on it, so is it heavy? It has a kasra on it, so is it heavy? Light? Excuse me. Anyone disagree? Kha, heavy or light? If it has a kasra, then it's the least amount. It's the least amount, okay? So that means it's still classed as a heavy letter, but it's the least amount. So you don't emphasize it on much. Excuse me, let me just get some water, please. So as I was saying, the kha is a heavy letter, but if it has a kasra, you put the least emphasis on it. So you don't say khi. What do you say? Khi. Khi. وَأَمَّا مَنْ بَخِلَ بَخِلَ. Is it وَاسْتَغْنَى? Did I read it right? وَاسْتَغْنَى. Ayyuh, very good. So you should realize these common mistakes. Many people will say وَاسْتَغْنَى. But what is it? وَاسْتَغْنَى. So the ta, you have to make sure that it's light. The next verse, again, similar to وَصَدَّقَ, but وَكَذَّبَ, all of the letters are light. If we move on, if we go down a few verses, وَمَا يُغْنِي عَنْهُ مَالُهُ إِذَا تَرَدَّى. Two things here. The word مَالُهُ. مَالُهُ, is it one word or two words? It's two words. Mal is one word, and the ha here is a dhamir. It's a pronoun referring back to him. Maluhu, we emphasize on the ha because we're separating between the words. Second thing is the word taradda. Ta, is it heavy or light? Ra, is it heavy or light? Dal, is it heavy or light? Light. Can you see the transitions that are happening? Taradda, not taradda. Ta, taradda, like that. Next verse, inna alayna, same as what we mentioned on inna sa'yakum. We don't prolong before it, so we don't say inna, right? If you want to beautify your ghunna, you beautify on the letter and not before it. So don't say inna, right? Do it on the ghunna, inna. That's what the ghunna is there for, right? Next verse, wa inna, same thing. Lal akhirata, same thing as the kha here has come. Bakhila, huh? So when we say lal akhirata, not akhirata, right? Wal ula, that's fine. فَأَنذَرْتُكُمْ. Two common mistakes here. The first is when you're doing ikhfa into the letter dha, we have to firstly letter dhal. A letter dhal, is it a heavy or a light letter? Light letter, isn't it? So that means we will prepare for this light letter. So we stretch our mouth out. فَأَنذَرْتُكُمْ. So watch my mouth. فَأَنذَرْتُكُمْ. I'm preparing for it, and the tip of the tongue is out. فَأَنذَرْتُكُمْ. Second thing is, dhal is a light letter, but the ra is a heavy letter. فَأَنذَرْ. You bring it in. فَأَنذَرْتُكُمْ نَارًا. And again, not nara, نَارًا تَلَظَّى. This is quite a difficult word. Not تَلَظَّى, تَلَظَّى. Many people will say تَلَظَّى, but you don't say law. تَلَى, تَلَظَّى. The ta and the lam are light. Dha is heavy. طيب, لا يصلاها. Sad is heavy. Make sure that the lam is light. لا يصلاها. Not لا يصلا. Sometimes the lam will come out heavy. You have to ensure that you're doing it as light. If we move down a few verses, وَسَيُجَنَّبُهَا atqa. This is a good place to test your tas, because a ta, that sound should only come when it has a sakin, not a moving vowel. So here it's not moving, so you emphasize وَسَيُجَنَّبُهَا الْأَتْقَى أَتْقَى. Okay, الَّذِي يُؤْتِي مَالَهُ, same thing, مَالَهُ we've covered before, يَتَزَكَّى is fine. وَمَا لِأَحَدٍ عِنْدَهُ, إخفاء into the dal, light letter, عِنْدَهُ, you're going to stretch your mouth out and prepare for the dal. مِن نِعْمَةٍ, again, ta is a light letter. The next verse is okay. The last verse, وَلَا سَوْفَ. وَلَا سَوْفَ is not one or even two words. It's actually three. Wa is one, lam is one, and sawfa is one. وَلَا سَوْفَ. What am I emphasizing here? Seen. وَلَا سَوْفَ. وَلَا سَوْفَ يَرْضَى, and not يَرْضَى. Ya is light, ra is heavy, and dad is heavy. Okay, I'm going to recite the whole surah once, so listen to it carefully, inshallah. These are the common mistakes from the surah, and then we will move on to Surah Al-Shams, inshallah. So listen to it carefully. If you look inside the Mus'haf now, and as I recite, you will see that how the common mistakes come, because you might be doing it yourselves, right? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والليل إذا يغشى والنهار إذا تجلى وما خلق الذكر والأنثى إن سعيكم لشتى فأما من أعطى واتقى وصدق بالحسنى فسنيسره لليسرى وأما من بخل واستغنى وكذب بالحسنى فسنيسره للعسرى وما يغني عنه ماله إذا تردى إن علينا للهدى وإن لنا للآخرة والأولى فأنذرتكم نارا تلظى لا يصلاها إلا الأشقى الذي كذب وتولى وسيجنبها الأتقى الذي يؤتي ماله يتزكى وما لأحد عنده من نعمة تجزى إلا ابتغاء وجه ربه الأعلى ولسوف يرضى. Okay, we're going to move on to Surah Al-Shams, and this we'll recite together, inshallah. I'll recite a verse and then you can recite it after me. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بطغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها. Okay, let's go over inshallah the common mistakes in the surah, and then after that inshallah you'll have an opportunity to recite from the hifz that we mentioned last week inshallah. طيب, so let's start off with the first verse. وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَضُحَاهَا. We have a ha which is from the middle of the throat, and then we have a ha which is from the bottom of the throat. So there is a transitioning happening. وَضُحَاهَا. You go from higher to lower, not lower to higher. Okay? وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا ha. Okay? The next verse that we have is وَالْقَمَرِ وَالْقَمَرِ. Okay? Qaf is heavy, mim is light. وَالْقَمَرِ وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا. طيب. Moving on to the next verse, we have وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا. Same thing with the gunna on the noon. We don't emphasize before it, we emphasize on it, right? We don't say وَالنَّهَارِ. What do we say? وَالنَّهَارِ. We join it together straight away. طيب. Verse after وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَاهَا. Ya is a light letter and ghain is a heavy letter. Okay? So you have to do that transition. يَغْشَاهَا, not يَغْشَاهَا. What do you do? يَغْشَاهَا. Okay? طيب. Moving on, وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا. That's fine. وَالْأَرْضِ and not وَالْأَرْضِ. You don't say وَالْأَرْضِ because the alif is not a heavy letter. The ra is. وَالْأَرْضِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا طَحَاهَا. Same thing. There's a transition between the ha and the ha. So you go from higher to lower and not lower to higher. وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا طَحَاهَا. The next verse that we have is وَنَفْسٍ وَنَفْسٍ. Fa is a hams letter. You emphasize on it. وَنَفْسٍ and then you do gunna. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. Okay? Verse after, the three words that are in this verse, okay, they all end in the ha. Ha is a pronoun, okay? And a pronoun is referring to her or it, okay? فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا. Emphasizing on that, okay? طيب. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ. Okay? The dal here is a light letter. قَدْ. You have to stretch it back. قَدْ. Not قَدْ. قَدْ. Okay? أَفْلَحَ مَنْ. When we do ikhfa into the letter za, we have to know that it is a light letter. So we say man zakkaha, not mal. What do you say? Man, and you stretch it out. Man zakkaha. Okay? وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. Same thing. You're gonna stretch it out. كَذَّبَتْ ثَمُودُ. There's a ta, then there's a tha. There's a ta, then there's a tha. Okay? So you do hams on the letter ta. كَذَّبَتْ ثَمُودُ. كذبت ثمود بطغواها. بطغواها. طا is heavy, ghain is heavy, wa is light, and ha is light. بطغ. بطغواها. بطغواها. طيب. the rule after idhim ba'atha, okay, idhim ba'atha. Okay, when we're joining it together, we have the rule. Which rule is this? The rule of iqlab. The rule of iqlab. And we talked about iqlab, okay? There's two ways of doing it, but we go with, if you have to do it lightly, your lips should be touching lightly. Idhim ba'atha, and you hold it. Idhim ba'atha ashqaha. Alif and sheen are light, qa is heavy, and ha is light. فَقَالَ لَهُمْ. فَقَالَ is it one word or two words? Two words, right? فَقَالَ لَهُمْ, again two words, you separate it. فَقَالَ لَهُمْ, okay? نَاقَ, this is a lot of people make this mistake. نَاقَةَ اللَّهِ, تَاللَّهِ. That's wrong. The ta is what? It's a light letter, isn't it? نَاقَةَ اللَّهِ. Okay? Moving on to the next verse. فَكَذَّبُوهُ فَعَقَرُوهَا. Okay? Ain and fa are both light letters. Qaf is heavy. Ra is heavy. فَعَقَرُوهَا. Okay? We finish the verse. بِذَنْبِهِمْ فَدَمْدَمَ عَلَيْهِمْ رَبُّهُمْ بِذَنْبِ. Again, same rule as the iqlab. بِذَنْبِهِمْ فَسَوَّاهَا. And the last verse. وَلَا يَخَافُ. Not يَخَافُ. وَلَا يَخَافُ. Okay? I'm going to recite the full surah. So if you listen to it, inshallah, the common mistakes that we've covered, inshallah, so you'll realize where they are, inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بطغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها. So these are the two surahs that we've done for today. Inshallah, in the next session we will cover Surah Al-Fajr, Surah Al-Ghashiyah, and Surah Al-A'la bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. We will stop here, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. We will continue with our hifz sessions from next lesson. Not today, inshallah. We'll finish here today. Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We did balad. No, sorry, balad, yes.